Hello and welcome to another episode of Gemstone Mine. I'm John.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Jake.
But what are you people doing here?
We're back!
That's right, we got the whole crew back again today, and today we're going to be doing What's in Our Cart for Strixhaven. We're not looking to do a deep dive card by card, we're looking at the singles that we are interested in picking up when the set releases. We may miss some of the cards that interest you or are going to be popular, but that's because we're looking at a tiny slice of the Commander metagame, the one that is literally happening at our tables when we play the game. If there's any cards that we miss going through it, we want to hear from you. Be sure to leave a comment, add us on Twitter where we are GemstoneMineMTG, or send us an email at gemstoneminepodcast@gmail.com. But before we get to Strixhaven, there is some news since last we were all together. One of the first big pieces of news is we had a Banned and Restricted update, where basically there was no update to the Banned and Restricted list. The good news is that the Rules Committee has said basically they're going to look at everything again once people are starting to play in person in paper again. They had a comment on the update that they were not interested in doing any major changes under webcam EDH.
Yeah, it's one of those announcements of an announcement type of thing, but I guess it's good to know that they're all still there and Commander's not going away.
I think their other little view was whether they'd revisit the concept of sideboards now that lessons are a thing, and I don't think that's changing too much either.
No, it sounds like wish boards, sideboards, lesson boards are going to continue to be a thing that you house rule in, but they are not planning to add it to the actual Commander rules. Something else that's cool that's happening in Commander is an event called Major League Commander, essentially Commander as an esport, organized by Callahan and the Mind Sculptors. Starting on May 1st, they're going to have a group of 32 content creators, streamers, and major tournament players for CDH. They're going to be drafting decks from the CDH decklist database, and then they'll be doing scheduled games every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Looks like they will be streaming on Twitch for it. There's actually a schedule that we're going to link down below, and this looks like it will be really cool.
I'm really excited for this. It's going to be quite an event. I imagine it's taken a lot of work to get this all set up and organized, so kudos to Callahan and all the other folks that are involved with this. I cannot wait to see the drafts. I cannot wait to see the games, so hooray.
Definitely.
I am also extremely excited for this to see. I don't know how I'm going to actually make time to watch all these games. I will be following. I hope they have a dedicated Twitter feed just for Major League Commander so I can follow what actually happens and what goes on.
You should be able to get some Twitch replay streams of it, so I don't think you're missing too much of it.
Other news we are seeing that the CDH decklist database is currently looking for new reviewers, but there is not a major new update recently. Alex, I think you mentioned that they have done an update sometime in recent months to make the database more friendly on mobile.
Yeah, I don't know if this is a newer thing or just something I'm noticing as I've been traveling a lot more and sitting in airports, but the ability to browse the decklist database and be able to read it on mobile is a lot more friendly from the last time I remember doing this. So that's a pleasant surprise.
And speaking of more friendly, there has been some updates over at Moxfield to make searching that website easier too.
Yeah, that was one of the major downsides of Moxfield, is that it was a little hard to search for stuff. So there is actually an advanced deck search that just got added a couple days ago, and it allows you to search by format, by hub, which is kind of these self-categorized tags that people apply to decks, cards in the main board and sideboard, and then there's some special search parameters that you can do based off of format. So like if you choose Commander as your format, you can search by Commander or Partner, things like that. So it's a good way to be able to dig deeper into Moxfield other than going to Google and typing in search or site:/moxfield.com.
Yeah, and speaking of making it easier to search, CommanderSpellbook.com, which is a repository of combos both in CDH and in regular Commander, got a major facelift, and it has gotten much easier to search for combos with it. I referenced the Commander Spellbook in a video we did recently with the Thoracle Consult combo, and it has gotten even easier to search since I've posted that video, so you're going to see a link to that here. And outside of some fan websites getting updated, we have some stuff coming out from Wizards 2. Not just the new set that has been released now, but we have new secret lairs that have been announced.
No, this is the first time I think they've actually done secret lairs that have lands. where the lands don't feel like buying them is necessarily kind of like a trap. Like when the snow-covered lands, like you don't really just want 5 snow-covered lands, one of each. You want to have all of them. So looking at one of the sets coming out is the Shards of Shocks, which is, the shards of your shock lands, totaling 15 in total. That feels like that's a good investment for lands, especially if you're looking to like kind of round out your collection of shocks.
You're not planning to pick up the full text lands?
I am
Artless full text
okay,
lands?
I want to pull up the full text. I want to get the full text lands just because I think that'd be hilarious to just have an entire deck of them. The problem is I can't.
I'll throw it on screen. I'll throw it on screen right now. Future John, make it happen.
I think the full text lands were. It's like that same realm as a lot of the silver bordered cards where I like to look at it and go, haha, that's funny. I don't want it though.
Like I'd either want none of them or I'd want my entire deck to have just those lands. I cannot distinguish between the two of them.
I would not want my decks to contain these. I mean, they are funny. I will leave them as a, third page on Reddit where they belong.
Yeah, but,
They're not for me.
Yeah, but John,
They're not for me.
building decks where it's like, ladies looking sideways. Those are kind of your thing. So what if you just build a deck where it's just like mountains of text? That's the gimmick. The entire card face has to have text on it. Either
so
as
you're asking for him
ability?
to build the Alexander Clamilton.
Nah, I'll pass on it.
I just want to throw this out there that John still has not watched or seen Hamilton. So
Someday I will. Someday I
Disney
will.
Plus.
But there are some secret layers that I'm really interested in this one. Jake, you and I are both interested in, I think Alex too, the mystical archives of essentially allied color spells with all his dust thrown in for good measure.
yeah, all multicolored mystical archives in Strixhaven were for enemy color pairs to fit in with the enemy color pairs that they were doing in the main set. So this was a way for them to dress up a couple allied color pair cards with the new frame. They look pretty cool. Also, that Fire Covenant looks dope. I will be getting one of those. I don't know if I'm going to get the entire set or if I'm just going to like order a single because, that's the only one I want, but it looks really good.
Not gonna lie, Jake, I'm gonna have some hard decisions to make whether my signed original printing Fire Covenant gets the nod over that Fire Covenant.
I'll sign the new one for you. How's that? That way you have a signed.
I don't know. For me, in a mystical showcase, I think it's Fractured Identity for me. I'm just a big fan of that card. I'm a big fan of that card in general, but the artwork on it just looks amazing.
Very good. And then the concert poster one, the final one, that speaks to I slammed money down on the table to get Party Hard Shred Harder, and I will be doing the same thing for the concert posters. Preordained looks amazing. The Nature's Lore looks amazing. All of them look amazing. Gamble, though, is my favorite one in the pile.
The whole design and art on these was enough that my wife, who usually thinks a lot of these overdone cards look kind of silly, actually commented that they looked awesome.
And then, Alex, we had a late addition to our news with Channel Fireball apparently taking it to TCG Player.
Yeah, it looks like Channel Fireball is moving away from the singles market for both Pokemon and Magic and partnering with, I believe, Good Games.
So what's going to happen?
From my understanding of the article, it looks like they're moving Channel Fireball to be more of a marketplace-like environment where they have other brands kind of below them that kind of fill those needs. So it's kind of TCG Player-esque, where TCG Player acts as kind of like the hub at the top, and then they've got different vendors that kind of fall beneath them. And it looks like Channel Fireball is kind of looking to go that route. Good news is, though, that if you've got credit with Channel Fireball, once they move to that marketplace, you'll be able to use that credit to any vendor that falls underneath that Channel Fireball kind of marketplace logo. So you might be able to get more bang for your buck out of your credit than you can now, actually. Be interesting.
It'll be interesting to see for sure, especially since they've introduced the Channel Fireball Pro in recent years, how that winds up integrating with everything. Since last we talked as well, we've actually got to play some games and some games in person. Alex, we did our Strixhaven pre-release, our mini pre-release over at your house, and that format seems really fun. And I will say that, at least in Sealed, Learn seems like it was a really fun and very strong mechanic.
Definitely. I've done my Sealed with you guys, and I've done Draft on Arena. Learn is definitely powerful in Sealed if you've got the pull for it. I've realized that as you draft on Arena and whatnot, prioritizing learn cards and lesson cards becomes it's like if you get it, that's great, but you don't actually draft around it. But yeah, that was definitely a good time, and it definitely does seem like not all schools, or not all guilds or classes, or
They're called colleges, Alex.
colleges, after school curriculum clubs are not created equally.
I haven't had a chance to play any Limited yet, but I have been following along with the Lords of Limited and Limited Resources podcast because I'm still driving a lot. And it sounds really cool. And it does have a lot of similarities to like Kaldheim, where you had to actually spend draft picks on lands for your deck. This time you're spending draft picks on your sideboard, basically. So you still have to draft more cards than you normally would, but as they mentioned, that just, modern day Limited cards are generally playable. It's not like you're back in Ice Age struggling to get your 23rd card.
Yeah. And in addition to just playing some Limited, Alex, we got to play some in-person Commander again.
That we did.
Yay, vaccines.
Yes.
So, Alex, you brought Akiri out to some very thunderous applause. You brought Omnath back out from Beyond to also some thunderous wins. We got to see one of my sisters brought her Toski deck out, and by the time this episode is out, we can say, happy birthday, you have now received some of the presents we got you to help upgrade Toski. We can look forward to getting overrun by squirrels backed up by Craterhoof soon.
Ooh, that was one of the gifted cards as a hoof.
And potentially an Eldrazi conscripted Toski? Who knows? Let's find out.
From the Beyond to tutor it up.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be sweet. And overall, I gotta say I'm looking forward to seeing how that deck plays out. I did manage to finish my Cardor Doomscourge deck. That deck caused all kinds of problems at the table. It was glorious. And I've now got to play Oops All Malcolm, and God, I love that deck. I just need to somehow not become the enemy when I have, 20 treasures sitting on the table. I need to just have like telepathy up so all hands are revealed and you can see the only thing I have in hand is another clone.
I will say Carter worked out really nice with me playing Akiri, where you pretty much just used my one suited up creature as just a bat to swing at your sisters.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
23 lifelinking, first striking, insert keyword text here, creature. Do something about it. It was good times. Looking forward to be able to play more in person now that we're all part of the Cool Kids Club.
Jake, did you have something you wanted to add there?
Nope. I haven't played any games.
You could have. I was up in your neck of the woods and I brought a deck with me.
I'm moving, dude. Like, we barely even have a house.
All right. Why don't we then talk about, Jake, tell us what decks you are brewing now.
Okay. So I haven't been playing lately, but I still have been brewing occasionally. Right now I have a Nath of the Guilt Leaf list that I'm putting together. I think I've decided I'm going to try to make it as competitive as possible, just because it would be mean to play into like a casual meta anyway, so why not? I'll play with the people who are expecting that kind of stuff. I don't know if it'll be able to punch that high, but we'll see how it goes. Then there's also a card that I will be talking about later this episode, Extus, one of the new Mardu options, and I think it has some cool potential, so I'm going to see what I can do with it.
And we'll talk about that in a little bit. Alex?
Not new brewing, just making tweaks to Noda, Omnath, and Akiri. One of the changes I'm making to Omnath is also going to be a card that we talk about later on that I think is going to maybe add a bit more. Not that it needs more staying power late game, but maybe smooth out the late game a little bit.
You can reach the crew from Gemstone Mine on Twitter at GemstoneMineMTG, or send us an email at gemstoneminepodcast@gmail.com. On YouTube, we're Gemstone Mine Podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell.